Hi, my name is Larry Donahue, and I've been a business lawyer, IP lawyer, and corporate lawyer for the past 30 years. One of the questions I get is, what triggers doing business in? Let's say you're located in Florida. Do you have to register your company in Georgia? What triggers all of this? Or, a lot of people in Florida want to say they're not doing business in Florida, even though their state of residence is in Florida, because they're doing business on the internet. There's a lot of confusion about this. But let me also bring up that this is a very complicated topic, and it's very political. Let me explain why. I'm in New Mexico. New Mexico, if you look at it politically, it's typically a blue state surrounded by red states. Colorado, purple, Arizona, purpling, but typically very much more liberal, not for the reasons you think, by the way. But one of the things we have are, cannabis, and we have abortions. So can you imagine, just on the state line of Texas, we got a lot of growth going up there. You got cannabis stores literally on the other side of the state border, and we have abortions. Come and get your abortion here in New Mexico. Now, you can imagine that really upsets California. And so California would love to come across the border and arrest people and close down businesses. So the issue of doing business in a state is very political. Why? Well, imagine a Texas resident owning an abortion clinic in New Mexico. Will that fly? Probably. But Texas is going to really care about that, and so it's going to deal with these issues. So the big point I'm trying to raise here is if you really care about the contours of the law in your state, this video is crap. It's not going to help you. You need to hire a business lawyer in your state to discuss specifically what you're doing, how you're doing it, who you're selling to, and so on. And that will help you figure out whether you're truly doing business in your state. But I can give you some high-level guidelines right now. One of those is, do you have a W-2 employee in a state? If so, you're doing business in that state, and that includes you. So if you're going to have S-Corp tax treatment because you don't want to pay Uncle Sam so much, you got to pay yourself a reasonable salary, that's W-2 wage, you're doing business in the state you're located in. But there's other reasons too. Base of operations, you could be selling a preponderance of clients, meaning if you have roughly 20% or more of your clients in a particular state, you're probably doing business in that state. Likewise, if you're not doing that, then you're probably not doing business in that state. Now, the big exception here is California. California has a lot of rules. What I recommend is Googling or searching on the internet, California Franchise Tax Board doing business in the state. They have a really good one-pager on the thresholds that would be required or triggered to be doing business in the state.